locked. Head oriented my way, and her throat was in the process of swallowing as her eyes glanced at mine quietly, a mixture of angst and anxiety, mouth moisture maintained in the back gone awry. So her words came out dry as untouched sand, and she said, I'm left-handed. I write with my left hand. Now, I've witnessed her writing with her right, so I knew that wasn't right, but it was the impression of her expression, what she meant her sight implied, so I replied, like left-handed people, some products were prepared differently for you, right? So, painful and purposeless when a glove doesn't fit, you probably prefer not to play at all. And like left-handed people, your orientation isn't common, right? They orient their bodies for their hand. They sit in a different position than the rest, which can be a test because desks weren't made for them either. So they orient their bodies for their hand, just as you orient your mind for your heart, right? And even if the left-handed tried desperately hard to be like the majority from AM to PM, wrote with the authority is in the right one. Their scribble would make sense to no one, and we'd still be left with the left-handed. Kind of like you, despite the strife of living life learning to write with your right, there would be no benefit from this self-enforcement. Self but not you, so I force it. I don't get it. And I wouldn't get it if the preacher told his church God doesn't approve of left-handedness. And I wouldn't understand if a man grew disgusted and shy if a guy were to pick up something with not his right. And I would be surely going crazy if a lady was scared for her babies to have to grow up in a world that includes people like you. And I know it isn't right for the extreme political right to continuously fight your existence. And it just can't be the will of the nation to enforce discrimination, wring out dry all towels of love, decisively disallow all fitting gloves. That must be wrong, right? But when you tell me it feels right to write with your left and not your right, there's nothing wrong with that. I get that. And sinistrality doesn't mean sin. I get that. You wish people would understand your hand if you were to write from right to left so you wouldn't smudge the paper under your arm. Too bad society decides not to read that way. But from what I understand, you use both hands anyway to caress and to hold all sides of your soul to uphold love.